YouTube, what's happening? This is Tyler on Tools again here, and today we're reviewing another Harbor Freight product. It is the brake fluid bleeder kit, and you see right there. What I've been working on is I have a trailer that has been giving me headaches ever since I replaced every part on there known to man for the brake system. So today we're going to try bleeding it again, but this time using a pneumatic system. Kind of show you what it has in it here. It has the vacuum canister. Nice little silicone hose here. Looks like you can easily see the fluid going through it. Has a nice little bleeder adapter right here that goes on. And then over, which I already have on the trailer, which is kind of unfortunate for you guys because you don't really get to see it too well. But what we have here is the reservoir kit that holds the excess fluid. So as you're sucking it out the bleeder valve at the brake end, you get the refill happening at this end here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook this up to the bleeder valve on the front brake of the trailer. We're going to turn it on, see what happens, see how much air comes out, see how much fluid comes out, see how much goes into the reservoir. I don't know if any of you have worked on brake trailer systems before, but they don't hold a lot of fluid. And that master cylinder up there probably only holds a quarter cup at best. So it'll be interesting to see if the refill bottle can keep up with the vacuum bottle pulling it through the system, because there's not a lot in that reservoir to start with. So you have to forgive me because I don't do editing on my videos. So I'm going to walk over there, hook up the vacuum system, turn on the compressor, which is probably going to get a little noisy, so I might actually close the door so you don't hear that as much. And we will see what happens. So I'll get you set up here so you can watch it in action as I do live. There is the wheel cylinder. We're going to take this here, hook it onto the little fitting on the back here, which I've done this so many times in the last week or so. I kind of know where it's at, unfortunately. See if I can get this thing to fit on there. Good snug fit. Oh yeah, that should give a nice vacuum fit. I'm going to hook up the air hose to the vacuum system and squeeze the handle. We're going to see what comes through here. Get the vacuum going. Loosen the wrench on your bleeder valve so that you don't get any air in the system. Sorry about the compressor kicking on there. Let's see what we get. I see a little bit of air bubbles coming in. We do not have much fluid yet. I don't know if you can see the air bubbles going through that line there. I'd like to see a nice solid fluid color. I don't have much going into the reservoir yet. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, because I've never done this before. Either I have a whole lot of air in my line, which I've bled the system probably 5 times in the last 2 weeks by hand using the screwdriver method up front, or I have a hole in the brake line, which I don't use any brake fluid. I'd be surprised in that because all my lines have been replaced also. So recently replaced the backing plates, the shoes on all 4 wheels, and the brake actuator up front. The brake lines have all been replaced in the last couple of years. But unfortunately, I am not seeing a whole lot of fluid entering this line as we speak here. See a little dribble That's about it. All right. We're going to adjust the wrench on the back and see if we can. Now that bleeder's really loose in there. It's not like that should be blocked. Like I said, this is all brand new stuff. It's about 3 weeks old. Can't imagine I have a blockage in the bleeder already. Let's go up front and see if we're running out of brake fluid, which we shouldn't be because we have the refill bottle installed up there. So as you can see, there's still fluid in the reservoir. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering about the bungee cord, these things here are meant to be flipped over and kind of hang down inside the reservoir openings. I'll show you what one looks like here. Where are they? Sorry. There they are. So that's what they look like. So they're intended to kind of hang in the opening of your brake reservoir. So they drop down in the hole and those little hooks would hang on there. Because this is a brake actuator for a boat, the opening is about 1.5 inches, maybe 1.75 inches. None of these adapters from Harbor Freight fit, so I flipped it over like this so it's a little stand, which is kind of doing the same thing, but I had to have the bungee cord just to make sure it didn't fall over and make a giant mess. So we know we have brake fluid up front. We know the bleeder valve on the back here is open. You can see the wrench just flopping loose back there. So we're going to hook up the vacuum, apply some pressure, and hold that on for a little bit longer and see what we get. I wish I could mute the earplugs for you. I'll have to figure out how to do editing of sound. A little bit of, tiny bit of fluid come through there, but you can see in the jug, not much yet. Definitely not what I would expect for about, I don't know, 45 seconds of a plain vacuum. I've watched some other videos of this. They did say it took a while to bleed the system, longer than they expected. So maybe that's the case. I'll sit here for a while and do this, see what happens. I don't know if my air compressor can keep up. I do have about a 12-gallon air compressor in there, 3/4 horse. Wow, I cannot imagine I have that much air in the line system considering these were all bled manually. All right, so we're gonna go a different route here. We're gonna take a screwdriver and start the manual bleeding process. You're gonna hear my air compressor, so I'm very sorry about that. Grab a large screwdriver here and manually engage the brakes. So because they have been such a pain in the butt, I had to actually physically lock them out with a pin here. Apparently the brakes are partially engaged right now, so I can't even get the pin out. But up here, there's a manual operating system. You can kind of work this back and forth right there to physically pump fluid through the system, just like the brake actuator is actually working, just like this. So I'm probably sucking a hell of a lot of air into it right now. And the fluid in here is going down the fluid in the reservoir is going down when I do that. And this here is starting to go down as it refills the master cylinder. So you see it glug in there. So I'm going to go back and try the vacuum again. Sorry, I thought this was going to be a quicker process for you today. I'll close the garage door so you don't have to hear it. That's bad. All right, so we're back at the brake here. Manually pumping that didn't seem to accomplish much. I have done this with a mason jar, and I can see fluid comes out of these brakes because that's how I manually bled them. I had my wife out here helping. So apply more vacuum, see what happens. No, I feel the hose there. I can feel the vibration in the hose, like there's little tiny air bubbles going through. Actually, I can see tiny air bubbles going through. Probably not anything you're going to see on camera, but definitely not a fast vacuum process. Probably the worst sound ever on a camera. I think you can see the little tiny vacuum bubbles going through there or not. You are getting a little brake fluid in the bottom here. You see that? Up here at the front, I can still see some tiny little air bubbles coming through. I don't know if this is going to help or hinder. Right up here at the hose, little tiny air bubbles going in there. You can probably see the fluid, maybe not. You can see little bits of fluid going through there, but nothing solid like I want to see. It's hard to believe there's this much air in the system. It really baffles me. I think I close the valve. I leave the handle compressed here, so I still got a vacuum going on. I don't want air to get back into the bleeder. You take that and snug it off, and then as you break it free from the bleeder valve, it'll self-clear itself. And here the change, this does have vacuum to it. I mean, there's vacuum going on. I wouldn't say it's a whole lot, enough to support itself. Well, I thought it was going to be a little bit quicker. Since I've never used one, I didn't know what I was really expecting. I do have a manual vacuum system that I've done before. It's like for changing oil in a boat. You pump it up, it creates a vacuum in a big canister. Put the hose on, open the valve, and it does create suction for probably a minute or two at a time. I was getting a lot of air in that system too, on all four of them every time I've done it. So I thought, well, maybe it's just the system I was using. Uh, so I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on this. I think it's working the way it's intended. It's just not what I thought it was going to be a lot quicker, like a house vacuum. Um, I guess that's my lack of knowledge on using these systems. So I'm going to bleed the other one on this side. I took the trailer in and had somebody else professionally do the other side after I did it. And they wound up having to grind off the brakes. They found that this metal backer plate right here stuck out too far. Flip it around here. So the metal backer plate on the pads right here was sticking out too far. And on the trailer, when the wheels would tilt in and out a little bit, catch the drum and cause the brake shoes to rotate in there and drag and engage while you didn't want them engaged. So going down the road, as the brake drum was rotating, this was catching, pulling the brake shoes like that, engaging them into the drum. So what he wound up doing is he ground off the edge of all these shoes, just like I've done on this side, and then had to put a bevel on the edge of the pad so that that doesn't drag on the brake drum itself. So he did that, and he bled the system with his vacuum bleeder. So I'm trying to duplicate what he did, and the guy's been in business for 50 years. His side works, my side doesn't. So at this point, I'm just trying to duplicate what the professionals did, um, and see if I can get the dang thing to stop locking up going down the road, because I don't want to buy any more tires. This is a pain in the ass. All right, well, I'll try and edit, get back to you, let you know what I find after I drag this thing down the road, see if it works any better, see if it doesn't. I appreciate you spending the time with me doing this system. Sorry for the horrible edits. I'm no good at the video stuff. But I just like to show you raw and naked what I see, what I got, and how I use it. If you have any questions, leave comments below, and I will try and post another video, in a week or so about this to see if this actually fixed my problem or if I'm still pounding my head against these fenders. Have a good one. Take care.